Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Now I love summertime. Australia is the best time for summer, it thrives. But the one thing that is terrible when you live near the bushland is that the cicadas are so freaking loud, they just piss you off, and it really is hard to film a video. But with that said, let's get straight into today's video where we're going to be doing a new custom build on the back of the Colorado. Now I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys, but I'm going to be building a new rear ladder rack. So basically I'm going to be getting rid of this aluminium one here. It's all bent up and everything, as you can kind of see it's bent back, and the Raptor coat's coming off, all that sort of stuff. But it just doesn't suit my needs. So what we're going to be doing today is a new ladder rack. We're going to be having a steel ladder rack. I would prefer aluminium, but I've just got steel on hand, so I'm going to be doing that. We're going to be doing a steel ladder rack with swing away jerry can / gas bottle and swing away spare wheel. So I've already kind of started getting into this just by making up a couple of plates, but today we're going to be trying to fab up the whole bar work, and then we'll take it all down to Kaspam and get him to weld it all up. So far what I've made up is a few plates here which are just going to sandwich the tray. If you can imagine that sitting over there like that, and then this bit will go underneath, and I'll run I've got some M12 high tensile bolts that I'm going to be running through it, and that'll just keep it all nice and secure. I basically copied what they used to do here, and if you want to know, this is 6mm just mild steel. Now I have made up 2 sets of them, obviously for either side of the canopy, and then what we're going to be using is 50x50 SHS. It's 3mm thick steel. I was going to go something different, but I just got this for free from work. But this is going to be our design. So if you can kind of see what's going on there, we're going to have a ladder rack over the top to mount a rooftop, ladders for work, all that sort of stuff. And then these 2 gates here, there and there, they're going to be hinged from this side and obviously that side. They're going to swing out, and that'll have spare wheel probably on this side, and then water and gas bottle on this side. And I don't know if I'll do that middle bit yet, or if I'll just join the 2 plates and put a bolt through the tray. So we'll figure that out later. But I did originally design this to be 75mm by 50mm steel, but obviously I got the free stuff, so I'm just going to use that, and it will save on weight a little bit as well. Now I don't have the welder with me today, so I'm just going to be basically cutting all the bits up and then giving Pat a jigsaw puzzle just to weld up and get all good for me, and then we can bolt it on after painting and everything. I am still probably going to go with Raptor paint, but being steel, it's going to stick a lot better, and then hopefully I can transfer that to eventually a new tray setup, but we'll see how that goes down the track. So the plan for the ladder rack is to follow the shape of the canopy pretty much, so I'm going to exact match it, but I'm going to have the 50x50 start right out on the edge of the tray. So it is going to stick out from the canopy and kind of be wider than the whole canopy and everything, but that'll hopefully miss my light up there. Otherwise I'll just drop that with a couple of little extension brackets. But then I also need, this is roughly 80mm above the tray, the canopy top, so I want it to be nice and level, and then when I do roof racks it'll be level the whole way through. So I'm just going to use this plan as a guide because I've changed it, and I'm also changing some bits of it. But basically we're just going to start cutting these sections up, get that ladder rack assembly done, and then I'll focus on the doors after that. Let's get into it. If you could ask for the best weather to film a video in, it would have to be raining and windy. Alright guys, we're going to push through all this shit weather to finally get this video done, because this is probably my second attempt or third attempt actually at doing this video. I've started cutting some of the bits, and I've measured all the things and marked up all my cuts that need to be done. So most of the stuff is prepped, ready to go. So today, despite the weather, we're going to be cutting all this steel. We're going to be getting all our measurements, getting it ready, and then shipping it off to Pat for him to weld it up. I've got my metal saw here, which this was the bloody issue that I had 2 weeks ago and didn't want to film. It's just a cheap, shitty Azito saw you get from Bunnings. The blade that comes on it is honestly the worst thing in the world, so if you're buying it, just chuck it out straight away and go buy a different blade. I ended up getting a Flexovit. You can kind of see it there. It's a reinforced mild steel blade to obviously fit it and everything like that. It cuts surprisingly 10 times better. I was having issues when I had done the first cut where it would sort of wiggle and then The blade is 3.8mm thick and it was cutting probably 6mm wide. It was just walking all over it. But after I put a bit more pressure, it cut through it beautifully. I tried a cold saw blade on this, but it just spins too quickly, so don't go waste your money, because I did and I've learned from that. But I think I found the right sort of blade to work. Shout out to Roam Life for answering my question about it, as he has the same saw. Alright, so I'm going to stop talking now. Let's get straight into cutting all these angles up and seeing how this rebar goes.
I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway.
Well boys, I've gone to town on cutting everything up. I still need to clean up some of the cuts, just deburr them, stuff like that. But this is essentially it. Here it is, all laid out. So this is what it's going to look like in the end, once it's all welded up, obviously. We've got our ladder rack, we've got our 2 doors, and then they'll obviously be hinged in the corners with some sort of lock thing in the middle. I haven't sorted that out yet. But that's it. And then we will be getting these plates, and these will get welded, obviously not that way, but they will get welded on the bottom of the ladder rack feet, and Bob's your uncle. There is our brand new ladder rack with swing away doors and all that good stuff. These are also going to be removable, so the hinges I bought are security hinges, so you twist them to about 45 degrees and then you can actually lift this whole door off. So that's a good thing if I need to cut down on weight and go get firewood or something like that. So it's starting to get a bit late today, so it's about time that I start packing up. I will end up going through and cleaning up all these cuts. I don't know if I'll do it quickly now or do it during the week. And then we'll try and get it off to Pat to get him to weld it all up. With the saw, by the end of it, it is starting to slightly cut on askew, so I had to do a cut and then I would just go really slow and kind of keep it straight and stuff like that. So I'm going to pack up now. It's probably going to be a few days my time before I pick up the camera again, but for you it'll be a click of my fingers. So let's get straight into the next day and we'll see what we're up to. I don't even know what we'll be doing, so I'll see you there. Alright guys, so it's probably been a couple of weeks since I've spoken to you guys last. We have completely finished welding everything up now. So I've been at Pat's this morning for about half a day. We've finished everything and now I'm going to try and smash out painting it. So I have gotten the compressor and all that. I'm trying not to show you too much. I'll give you a quick gaze at it, but that's all you're really going to see. I want you guys to see it when it's done, nice and black and looking real good. So I'm not going to film any of this because I don't want to get anything on the camera. It's a very expensive camera, so getting paint on it is not ideal. I'm just going to go through, sand it all, paint it all just like I done to the bull bar, so using metal sandpaper, and then I'll be priming it with epoxy primer and then laying down some Raptor. Other than that, I've got to drill a couple of holes right now and then get it straight into sanding. So this is going to be fun. I hate sanding, but anyway, we've got to get it done. And my uncle was busy, so that's why we're doing it at home. And well, you guys will see it when it's complete, and we'll be heading off to take it away basically. Next weekend, we're going away. That's why there's a bit of a rush to get this done, and that's why I'm a bit under the pump at the moment.
Go, 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 go.
Alright, to keep up with the style of this video, it has been another probably month or two, something like that, since the last clip was filmed. And as you can see, the rear bar is on and it has been used and abused frequently. You might have noticed I haven't been posting videos on YouTube quite recently. I've just been out and about camping, stuff like that, and life's kind of just gotten in the way of all of it. But we are sort of getting back into it now and trying to get a bit more frequently back on the YouTube. So what we've got here is the finished rear bar. As you can see, we've mounted all our gear that we use, and let me tell you, it is absolutely great. I love this rear bar. Like, it has helped camping so much. We used to carry the spare in the canopy, or strap it on the back here a bit awkwardly, and then obviously the gas bottle and the water and stuff was always in the canopy as well. So now that we have the fridge in there, it really limited our space, but now that this is on the back of the car, it has changed. Like, it's an absolute game changer. We've got so much more room inside the car, and it's great for storage. So the usability of this thing is also excellent. As I've told you originally, I cook on the back of the tray here. So having my gas just there, the hose already hooks up, I just put my gas cooker on there. And then I will eventually get a bin bag for that, so that'll be on the camping side on the left. And you know, bin ready in camp, water ready to go. I do need to fix the tap on that, it's just a bit shitty to be honest, but that is something we can sort out later. And then the gas bottles obviously just mounts on there, and then yeah, just put the cooker on, hose reaches. I didn't have to extend hoses or get anything like that. So last clip you guys saw was before we painted it. Painting it was quite fun. It was basically doing it every afternoon after work, so I was painting into the night. If you follow my Instagram, you would have seen that a while back, but yeah, that was interesting. One tip about Raptor is it goes absolutely everywhere. Using that Schutzgun or Schutzgun, however it's pronounced, it just sprays the stuff everywhere. And I was using a step that my missus uses to put the clothes on the washing line, and it was covered in Raptor liner, so whoops. But all in all, the painting process of it was actually quite fun, and I was pretty darn happy with it. I think the texture come out amazing. Pat had the compressor set at 90 psi, in case you were wondering, and that's kind of all I know about it. I just shot what he already set, and I was pretty darn happy with the texture. I haven't had any scratches or any paint peeling off yet. The only part I've had any sort of marks or scratches or anything is where the two gates meet, which I'll show you in a sec. But other than that, it seemed to hold up pretty well to sticks and branches and all the sorts of things that have been rubbing against it. Now, something you might notice, you might not, there's two notches out on the tray here. We had to cut into the aluminium. So the way I've set up the locks is we've got two spring-loaded drop pins go through the tray, which we will end up putting a steel plate on there just so it doesn't wear it out. And then we've got a locking latch here up the top, which I'll show you in a sec as well. So they're what hold it together. Basically the two gates just butt together, well not butt together, but they hold each other together, and then the two drop pins go through the tray to stop that movement. But because of those drop pins and because of the height, I have to put basically the swing away out. So the swing away sits, the base of it is about 40 mil off the tray, so that it clears all this stuff and also allows for droop and things like that. But the locking system of it, those two drop pins were too long basically, so we had to cut out sections of the tray so that they could swing past. It's okay, I haven't cleaned it up yet, so they still look pretty dog-eared, but we will clear it all up and repaint it all and make it look nice again. But for now, I don't really care. It works, it's functional, and that's all I need. So one thing I didn't tell you guys about the roof was that I was going to be running some sort of RHS or hooker rod or something from this rear bar to the front bar, just to get that stability that way. I then come up with the idea, why don't I just put a rack on top of it? So I went and bought a King's flat rack thing. I think they're made for like a Patrol or a Universal or whatever, but I just U-bolted it through the bar there, and then a U-bolt through the bar at the back here as well. I had to space it up 30 mil to make it level with the front. So that is an aluminium piece up there that I cut down. I tried to shape the corners of it to match and put a bit of rubber between it, etc. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. I also Raptor lined that and haven't had any scratches yet, so fingers crossed we don't get any scratches on it. But that's all just U-bolted down and works a treat. It's actually great. I put spare tyres up there for mate, so as you can see I got my ladder up there at the moment, so works heaps well. And then I've got this overhang here, which obviously you're not going to go stand on because it will just bend, but my plan is to mount a solar panel underneath or on top of there. I'm not really sure yet, but probably whack a solar panel underneath, and that should give me all my solar power I need. I still haven't painted these little bits here that I made on the light, so that is another job I got to do. There are a few more jobs I got to do to it just to tidy it all up, but I haven't got around to it yet. Now, one thing we did change, I mentioned I wanted the gates to be removable, so I was using security hinges. We tried to weld them on, they didn't work very well. They were very cheap and just nasty security hinges. It was grinding as it comes round, it was hard to get straight, and I just hated them. So I ended up going and getting these weld-on greasable bullet hinges, I believe they're called. So they're just a really nice sleek hinge. You just put two bits of weld on it and away you go. You got a grease nipple on the top, and yeah, I can grease them up. They glide so smooth, they're great. But you can see the dirt kind of gunks up out of there because grease does come out, and obviously on the top there as well. So you just got to clean them up before you pack more grease into them. Now unfortunately that means I can't remove them because I basically not inverted, but swapped the hinges around so that I can't take it off. Just didn't want it bouncing around and popping off. These are fixed on there right now, and they're not coming off again, but at the end of the day, I wanted it for the swingaways, so I haven't needed to take them off yet, and I don't think I will need to in the future anyway. I also put these little latches on here, so my plan is to cut my existing gates down so that I can gate off this back area, so you know I've got area just to chuck max tracks and shovels and stuff in. The plates work excellent, just bolted through the tray up under there. It's quite muddy at the moment, as you can see, because I do use this car. So they're all bolted on, and I haven't had any issues with it moving around or any squeaks or etc. Speaking of squeaks, these two drop pins do get a little bit, so as you can see, probably can't see, but I just drilled 2 holes in the tray essentially, and because it's an aluminium tray, when it's bouncing around they do squeak and move, and they are making the holes bigger, but I did allow for that, so I'm going to be running a steel plate just here. That should stop it from moving around and stuff, should hopefully not damage the tray anymore. Now this little latch here is great, padlockable. It's got like a safety release thing so it can't accidentally open. Basically push it down, pull out, and that is unhooked. So now that I've opened the top one up, let's swing these out. That's what I mean by they're tight at the moment, so once I put that steel plate in there it should help it a bit. But pull the gate out, I have to keep that up, otherwise it hits against the tray and it is lower. So that works with that. Swing that all the way out and it'll just hit the bar and kind of stop. Sometimes at camp I have been putting a strap sort of on the edge of the tray up to the bar just to stop it going past that 90 degrees of the tray wherever I want to sit it, but it depends on the campsite, so sometimes I'll let it hang all the way open and stuff like that. We just got our spare tyre as well, swing that one out, and that just hits on the bar over there. So now I've got my full usable tray, put my cooker on here, do my cooking, got my cooking light, and just storage and stuff like that. It's actually great. Haven't had any issues with this, it's all braced up nicely. We got some bolts and we just welded them onto the back of this plate, and then they just stick out as threads. I put my tyre on and now I've got 5 spare lug nuts with me. So these are the stock ones, but they fit these rims and everything. So I just put a bit of rubber in there. It's basically a whole rubber piece on that pad, and then, I don't know, just sandwiches a bit nicer. I didn't want metal on metal, and just screw them on. And yeah, spare lug nuts. And then I do have this wire here, which is basically just like a cheap bike lock at the moment. You can see it's all padlocked on. That's just for security, but I do plan on running some sort of bolt through there that I can put a padlock on and make it, I don't know, a bit more professional, but again, just haven't gotten around to it. But as you can see on the other ones, I also padlock the water and padlock the gas. Now, the only rubbing I was talking about before where paint has come off is this section here. So as you can see, it's kind of rubbed through the Raptor and down to bare metal, and then on the other side it's the same. So where that little section's just been rubbing, it's actually starting to rust now, which I haven't noticed. So I've got to basically sand this back, touch it up with some paint, and then I'm going to put a piece of rubber there as well, just to stop that metal on metal rubbing. And I'll probably put a piece of rubber on this side actually, just so it, I don't know, holds better and looks nicer. But yeah, that's just a little tab we had to weld on. That's just 6mm plate, and yeah, it just gives us something to brace against that's nice and strong. So I'm absolutely stoked with how this rear bar turned out. It is everything I could have dreamed of. It worked perfectly. I have no issues with it at all. The only thing I need to do is work out that steel plate and then maybe stop the rubbing on the back of here, but other than that, I'm absolutely stoked with it. It works exactly how I want it to, and I couldn't really design it any better, I don't think. Maybe looks wise, but not for practicality. Wow, that was weird. If you like the rear bar, make sure you like this video. Comment if you got any questions for me. I think I might have covered everything, but obviously there might be something else you want to know. And make sure you subscribe. We've got a few things going on at the moment. I'm halfway through another sort of building project that I'm pretty keen on. It should be quite a small one, but if you follow my Instagram, you kind of get live updates of things I'm doing. I hope you like this video. I hope you like this rear bar. I hope it's inspired you to go out and make something of your own, and piss off those shitty ladder racks that we all deal with that are all bent and get yourself something that's actually going to work. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch ya.
You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you feel